A reminder, the news does not end here. Here's what's coming up at 7 a.m. streaming on WCNC Plus.
Long lines at airports. What about here at Charlotte? Will TSA agents be helped by ICE agents? We'll have details coming up.
After multiple chemical incidents, the group Move Silfab says they finally set a court date against the company.
The facts are the county's breaking the law, outright breaking the law.
We'll break down the next steps and why the Attorney General is now getting involved.
Charlotte City Council is set to vote on a $25 million upgrade to Bojangles Coliseum and the Ovens Auditorium. Coming up, what's included in the upgrade and what it means for future events and games at the Bowplex.
And as gas prices continue to climb, we're verifying some gas myths.
Why topping off your tank isn't such a great idea, and the truth about off-market gas. Those stories and much more live, local, and breaking news coming up at 7 a.m. on WCNC Plus.
Well, it's our Monday morning and starting to get busy. We're up to 4 active crashes. This one here, though, may slow you down a little bit. It's going to be on I-77 inbound lanes right there at Nations Ford Road. We're seeing some delays right through Arrowwood Road. That's a live camera look coming in on mile marker 3, where you can see cars are moving slowly. We'll be following everything for you from 7 to 9. Chris?
Jump up and down and move it all around. We're up to 82 degrees today and then down to 60 degrees tomorrow, 40 degrees on Wednesday, and then before you know it, we're back to 87, potentially the 4th 87 we've had so far this March, and then of course the 60s return on Saturday and Sunday. But as I mentioned earlier, the floor is much higher, so a lot more 60s, 70s to the 80s going on here, so enjoy it.
I like it. All right, join us coming up in just a couple minutes, streaming over on WCNC Plus. Streaming live on a Monday morning at 7 a.m. right here on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Megan Bragg eating my breakfast. I tried to get a bite in, Ben. Couldn't do it.
Those commercial breaks are short.
They're too short.
Too short. Let's go ahead and get a look at your weather impact forecast while Megan continues her breakfast. Chris has your forecast.
I've done it before where I ate a Cheez-It and I just choked through half a weather segment. So, Megan, at least you handled it better than that. We are looking at a beautiful sunrise. It's in the process. We are now less than 30 minutes until that's happening. Monroe camera, Dallas camera seeing some of the most vibrant colors. But as you can see, we do have some active cloud cover out there. That has been really helpful. I love a cloudier morning, especially in this case scenario when it's not completely cloudy, because it keeps things a little bit on the milder side. Temperatures right now in the mid to the upper 60s on average across the area. And we have a front, this big blue spiky line that's aiming its sights at us, that is going to cool us down steadily really by the back end of the day. There's a slight chance for rain. I would really say above 3,000 feet here in the mountains, and could barely make it to the mountainous parts of Caldwell and Burke County. So staying a little bit cloudier there, a little bit cooler as well. And then eventually we're shifting the winds out of the north and the northwest. That is really going to cool us down. So expect a windy day. That's the bottom line today. Wind gusts anywhere from about 20 to 30 miles per hour for Charlotte. For the mountains, you could see it as 40 plus from time to time, and it will start to feel chilly by the day's end. 72 right around Morganton, 77 in Maiden. As you can see, we get exponentially warmer the further south that you go. 82 around Lincolnton, and then 82 for you in Concord, and then well, look at this 86 degree point here in Chesterfield. So plain and simple, the further southeast you live, the warmer you're going to be today. Seeing a decent amount of sunshine for the afternoon. It's also a warm morning, but a colder end of the day. Typically, we hit our low for the morning right as the sun is coming up, either right afterwards or right before. Well, today is different. Instead, we have the upper 60s, which would be a record warm low for this day in climatology. Instead, we fall below 60 degrees in the last hour of the day, so our low is technically going to be around 11:59. Today, since it's going to be so windy, it's so dry, we have a very high fire danger, and we're going to have one of the highest fire dangers that we've had so far this season because of how dry the air is. Typically, once you get to about May, it's not so much wildfire season anymore, and we actually were reporting a fire in Burke County yesterday, so kind of keep that in mind. I think this actually could be very problematic, so please just keep this in, I would say, even the front of your mind if you're doing any grilling and such, because it's a very high fire danger, especially over the next 3 days with those winds. Right around 60 degrees. We see that cool down for the coolest day on Tuesday. 40 degrees, a cold start on Wednesday. And then after that, on the way up, we have a pick of the week status for Thursday. Only rain chance, showers and thunderstorms late day heading into the evening on Friday for another cool down for the weekend. Okay, our very first check of our morning commute here on WCNC Plus.
Beautiful start to the day, warm as you're heading out the door, multiple ongoing issues out on the road. So let's start with this one first. It's going to be I-77 inbound lane, so heading towards Charlotte. It's at Nations Ford Road, that's exit 4. We're seeing some minor delays out towards exit 3, that's Arrowwood Road. The roads are flowing a little better than they were just about 5 minutes ago, but still it's kind of a congested place, even if there isn't a crash. Another new thing as we're heading out the door, 703 now is right here on Independence. It's going to be those inbound lanes right before Charlottetown Ave. Minimal delays building there. And then the third thing is here on Albemarle Road, inbound east of Lawyers Road. This just came in about 2 minutes ago. Seeing a little bit of yellow starting to build, so we will keep a close eye on that for now. Those are the things that I'm watching for you. We'll have another update coming up soon. Ben.
We start with a breaking news update right now on WCNC Plus out of North Charlotte. One person dead, 2 others hurt after a shooting on Hucks Road. That's off Old Statesville Road. That happened at a house party last night around 7:30. Investigators say a large crowd of young people were at that party. Police say when they got to the scene, it was chaotic, with dozens of people leaving that area.
At the end of the day, I'm standing out here before you. Upon arrival here, I probably passed about 50 young adults walking up to the scene. Apparently there's been some kind of party gone wrong, if you will, and it just disturbs and upsets me that there's that many youth or young adults out here. Don't know if their parents are coming. I don't know if their parents even know where they are.
Officers tell us the 2 injured victims are expected to make a full recovery. Right now, we still do not know what led up to the shooting or who fired those shots. Police are asking you to come forward and call Crime Stoppers if you know anything.
This morning, New York's LaGuardia Airport, one of the nation's busiest, is shut down after 2 people were killed when a plane crashed into a Port Authority vehicle. Investigators say the plane was coming from Montreal and collided with a fire truck that was responding to a separate incident. The pilot and co-pilot were killed, and 2 Port Authority police officers were hurt. Port Authority officials spoke just a few moments ago.
Initial numbers indicate that 41 passengers and crew were transported to the hospital, as well as the ARF officers. At this time, we understand that 32 have been released, but there are also serious injuries.
The FAA says LaGuardia will be shut down until 2 p.m. as the investigation continues. Today, immigration and customs enforcement agents will be deployed to airports across the nation as TSA agents continue to call out and quit. Lawmakers on Capitol Hill are still struggling to find a solution to the partial government shutdown. Atlanta's mayor confirmed ICE agents will be at Hartsfield-Jackson this morning. This is video that you can see right here showing how lines looked over the weekend. WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane is live at Charlotte Douglas this morning. Richard, do you know if this will be one of the airports in Charlotte that will be impacted by ICE agents?
Yeah, fortunately, so far we had good luck with not having super long lines, Megan. First of all, let me just play something for you real quick, if I can get here. Anyway, basically what's happening now, we can tell you that if you take a look at these lines over here, there aren't really long lines. We're less than 10 minutes right here at checkpoint A, or 1 if you will, at checkpoint 3, also looking good, and the TSA checkpoint also looking good. That's the good news. But you did say that there are a number of people who are out of those TSA agents. So the White House plans to send ICE agents to help those furloughed federal workers who, again, are going another week without their pay. The U.S. Border Czar Tom Homan has said that sending the agents has a force multiplier and that the agents would take on non-technical roles like monitoring lines and checking IDs so TSA can focus on screenings. Now, of course, lines aren't that long here in Charlotte, but they have gotten up to about 40 minutes at certain times. So that's not the same as some of the chaos that you just saw in videos of other airports like Atlanta and Houston. But still, there are some officials and Democrats who are warned about using agents who aren't trained for TSA duties. So if you're flying, the best bet is to plan to arrive early, give yourself plenty of time, and watch those airline alerts.
TSA is where the funds need to be made, and anything that they can do to help out, I think that would be really beneficial for them.
Putting ICE in there just, to me, elevates tensions unnecessarily. People may be afraid to fly because they think they're going to get seized or detained.
And we can tell you so far there have been up to 400 TSA agents who've either resigned or just quit their jobs. This as the whole situation stretches into another week. Hopefully a resolution at some time soon. But when we find out if ICE agents will be here at Charlotte Douglas, we'll let you know. We're right here at Charlotte Douglas. We'll send it back to you.
We have got to get those TSA agents paid. Goodness. Richard, thank you. This morning, we are working to learn more about several house fires that happened over the weekend from Steel Creek to Stanley County, with one ending in a deadly tragedy. Starting in Steel Creek, this is a look at the scene from Sunday night on Planter's Stowe Road. It took 30 firefighters to get this thing under control. The home a total loss, 2 nearby homes also damaged. Nobody was hurt. No word on what started the fire. Just hours before that, several crews responded to a house fire on Brooks Road in Stanfield. 2 people trapped inside. Firefighters searched the house but had to evacuate because the roof wasn't stable. When they went back in, a person was found dead inside. A firefighter was also hit by a live power line, but is expected to be okay. No word on what caused that fire.
In just a few hours, a man charged in a Northwest Charlotte homicide will face a judge. On Friday, Eugene Turner was arrested and charged with first-degree murder. He's accused of killing Julian Spencer. His body was found in a secluded area on Belmead Drive earlier this month. Anyone with information about this incident is asked to contact CMPD. The organization Move Silfab secured a court date in its lawsuit against the solar facility. The group filed a board of zoning appeal back in 2024 after slow progress. They're expecting to be heard on May 26th. WCNC Charlotte's Bria Smith breaks down the significance of this court date.
After nearly 2 years of waiting, members of Move Silfab say their fighting for accountability is entering a new phase. The grassroots organization, made up of residents living near Silfab solar facility, filed a lawsuit citing concerns over potential environmental hazards, public health risks, as well as permit violations. Organizers argue the incidents reinforce what they've been warning about since the beginning, the potential danger of operating a facility like this so close to neighborhoods and schools. Scott Jensen is a member of Move Silfab who tells me the BZA appeal had been put off for quite some time. Last week, South Carolina State Attorney General Alan Wilson requested a list of questions regarding the plant's zoning must be answered by York County Commission Chair Christy Cox. Scott tells me while he feels the county is not being transparent with residents, it feels good to know state leaders are weighing in.
The facts are the county's breaking the law, outright breaking the law. And the Attorney General is obviously the highest law enforcement authority in our state. So I'm very hopeful that when he actually sees the facts, and the facts are that that the permits are in clear violation of the BZA ruling and of the zoning code, and Silfab doesn't have zoning compliance. They never applied for it. It was never granted to them. They don't have a change of use. The other crazy thing about this is the only legal use for Silfab's property that they're renting from Exeter currently is distribution. They never got a change of use from distribution to manufacturing.
Move Silfab leaders say they plan to continue pushing for stricter oversight and transparency as they prepare for their day in court. Meanwhile, officials have not yet released new details about the cause of the most recent chemical incidents. In Fort Mill, Bria Smith, WCNC Charlotte.
Well, the search for Nancy Guthrie has officially hit 7 weeks. Savannah Guthrie has a message to the public. We share it next.
New this morning, police in London are investigating a suspected anti-Semitic arson attack after several Jewish volunteer emergency ambulances were set on fire. Explosions from gas cylinders on the ambulances also caused damage to nearby buildings, though no injuries were reported. Authorities say the attack happened in a neighborhood with a large Jewish population, and they're searching for a number of suspects. The incident raising concerns as anti-Semitic attacks have been increasing there in the UK. Well, it has been 7 weeks now since the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, mother of Today's Show host Savannah Guthrie.
Dana Griffin has the latest as the family is asking for renewed attention on the case.
7 agonizing weeks since Savannah's mom, Nancy Guthrie, was taken in the middle of the night from her Tucson home. Savannah posting today, "I believe," a nod to her family's call for renewed attention in the puzzling case, pleading with Nancy's Tucson neighbors to please consult camera footage, journal notes, text messages, observations, or conversations that in retrospect may hold significance. No detail is too small. The statement airing exclusively in a special report on Nancy's disappearance by our NBC affiliate KVOA News 4 Tucson.
We are deeply grateful for the outpouring from neighbors, friends, and the people of Tucson.
The family adding, "We hope people search their memories, especially around the key timelines of January 31st and the early morning hours of February 1st, as well as the late evening of January 11th.
Please be the light.
This investigation has amassed at least 40,000 leads. The biggest clue so far, this chilling video showing an armed, masked man at Nancy's home the night she was abducted.
And there were some concerns with what they were seeing at the scene.
Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos has told NBC News they're constantly analyzing evidence. As the family waits for answers, yellow flowers and ribbons dot the desert community, a show of support amid an unthinkable darkness. Savannah and her family saying that without answers, we cannot grieve, we can only ache and wonder. We want to celebrate her beautiful and courageous life, but we cannot do that until she is brought to a final place of rest. Someone in the southern Arizona community may hold the key that finally brings Nancy home. Dana Griffin, NBC News.
Sunday marked 5 years since the mass shooting at a supermarket in Boulder, Colorado, leaving 10 people dead. Family, city leaders, and residents gathered at the Museum of Boulder for a day of remembrance, honoring victims who were parents, workers, and police officers. Many say the pain of that day is still felt deeply across the city.
Sometimes 5 years can feel like a blink of an eye, while in other moments, the weight of that time passing is overwhelming.
Loved ones shared memories and reflected on the lasting impact of the tragedy while emphasizing the importance of continuing to honor those lost. City leaders say they are still working towards creating a permanent memorial.
7:17 right now. Live pictures right now over Uptown. The sun comes up on a new day and a new week. Chris standing by with a look at your weather impact forecast next.
And get ready for a yellow alert. Did you see it? Now, my wife has a black car, and you could really see that yellow that's starting to coat everything. And I think it's really through this week, it's going to become more and more noticeable. And then eventually, it's going to hit its peak yellow, I would say about 2 to 3 weeks from now. And what you're actually seeing is pine pollen. But what you're seeing is not what's actually getting into your nasal passage and really causing you to sneeze, sniffle, or all the above. Well, pine pollen is 2 to 3 times harder than hardwood trees. So oak pollen, talking about a big difference there. It could be up to 0.1 millimeters. Doesn't see all that much. But we typically start our tree season pollen by about February, and that's what we've been doing. Now, the most typical range is March all the way through June, but the peak intensity is April, and we're getting closer and closer to that, where it's really the last week of March. Hey, we're close enough, we're almost there, to the first week of April, that we really hit our all-time historic peaks. Now, the biggest one we ever had was actually just 2 years ago. If you were really suffering 2 years ago, this is the reason why. It hit 5,200 grains per cubic meter. That is substantial. The highest we've been so far is 747. But the thing with that 2024 peak, they actually peaked in the thousands by about this week. So I'm just letting you know, whatever we reach for this week is really going to be a telltale sign of where we're going to go over the next 2 to 3 weeks as far as our allergens are concerned. So I'm not saying that we're over the hump. We're actually just getting there. So the worst is yet to come. That's why I have an extreme level for our tree pollen today, or pollen just in general, up to an 11.6. The max, putting this in perspective, is a 12. The reason why today is much higher, separating itself from all the rest, is because of how windy it is. The more wind that is in the forecast, the more it's going to be blowing those fine little particles around. 11.2 is what we have for tomorrow, back to still a high range on Wednesday, and then we see a little bit of a comeback on Thursday. But plain and simple, we have all the usual suspects coming into play. We have oak, maple, pine, walnut, sweet gum, and cedar are the big 6, and that is across multiple sources, including ones that is the local pollen count right here in Charlotte, North Carolina, and one that is done at the Department of Natural Resources. They come up with a new report really Monday through Friday, so we'll be waiting later on this afternoon to see really where we peaked over the weekend. We don't have that data as of yet. But yeah, the main story is the winds going forward. And another thing to add on, because this really couples up everything, I'm bringing back the UV forecast because it's now a much higher angle of the sun. So we're actually up to a high today, that's a 7, back to moderate level with more clouds for tomorrow, and then high on Wednesday. So we're not in that burn time of 15 minutes, but if you have fair skin, just be advised that UV index is only going to get higher over the next month or 2. All right, let's get right over to Majestic. Has anything changed since the last time we talked traffic?
We have a couple more accidents. This is going to be I-77 out near Gilead, where you can see cars are just flowing pretty slowly at this point. They're doing all right if you're heading northbound, slower if you're heading southbound. There's multiple accidents. You can see it here, especially off to the west. This is one of the newer ones. Currently, this is I-85 northbound at Sam Wilson. That's exit 29, backed up to exit 23. That's out towards Lowell, McAdenville, and then heading over towards Uptown. 277 looks fine, but if you're coming in on Independence, we do have some delays. Inbound lanes will be impacted as there's a crash right there at exit 243. And then finally, Albemarle Road inbound east of Lawyers Road. An accident was just reported about 10 minutes ago, but not seeing any delays.
All right, today in women's history, remember the legendary actress Elizabeth Taylor, who passed away on this day in 2011. Known as one of Hollywood's brightest stars, Taylor broke barriers with her bold roles and unapologetic personality. Beyond her acting, she used her fame to advocate for HIV/AIDS awareness and other humanitarian causes, showing women the power of using their voice for change. Her fashion, philanthropy, and fearless career choices continue to inspire generations. Elizabeth Taylor's life left an enduring mark on both the entertainment industry and women's history. All right, taking a live look over Uptown right now from our view cam. We're going to take a quick break, but keep it right here on WCNC Plus.
Well, good morning, everyone. Check out this beautiful day. The sun rising up over here in Monroe. Glorious set of colors. You gotta love when you have some of these higher clouds right there. It really magnifies our sunrise colors. 70 degrees right now in Hickory, 68 degrees in Charlotte. This is great because we have a couple of days they're going to struggle to get up to these values. 65 is the low so far right here around Rock Hill. So this is pretty much the bottom temporarily. Then later on today, we're actually going to hit our lows for the day right before midnight. We usually do it around this time. Nope, it's going to be a little bit different because we have a cold front pushing through. Still a high of 82 degrees with more sunshine to end the day, but then a cold front. That's going to be the winds of change. That's why tomorrow we're only reaching 60 degrees. We'll have some lingering clouds. 68 degrees on Wednesday. The 80s are back for my pick of the week on Thursday. Next chance for rain, a thunderstorm late day on Friday. Majestic, what's going on this morning?
It's busy out there, but at least it's nice and beautiful and pretty warm as well. Here's a live camera look. This one's coming in on I-77 as traffic is starting to pick up as we're nearing that 7:30 time frame. You can see it there, and this morning I'm currently following 7 different accidents that are active right now. Once we look at my map, I'm going to be following all of these over on WCNC Plus for you until 9 a.m. But this one here will be impactful if you take I-85 northbound.
Good morning. Happy Monday, everybody. Thank you for joining us right now on WCNC Plus at 7:30. I'm Megan Bragg in for Lisa Washington.
And I'm Ben Thompson.
We start with a breaking news update. We now know the name of the person shot and killed at a party in North Charlotte Sunday night.
Yeah, we got that information just the last few minutes. CMPD says they found 20-year-old Richard Thomas dead at a house on Hucks Road off of Old Statesville Road. This is video from that scene. Officers also telling us 2 more people were shot, bringing the total number of victims to 5. Investigators say a large crowd of young people were at the party, and police say the scene was chaotic when they first arrived, with dozens of people around the area.
At the end of the day, I'm standing out here before you. Upon arrival here, I probably passed about 50 young adults walking up to the scene. Apparently there's been some kind of party gone wrong, if you will, and it just disturbs and upsets me that there's that many youth or young adults out here. Don't know if their parents are coming. I don't know if their parents even know where they are. But this is the kind of...
Officers tell us of the 4 victims that were injured, all expected to make a full recovery.
And right now, we still do not know what led up to this shooting or who fired those shots. Police are asking anyone with information to call Crime Stoppers.
Charlotte city leaders set to make a big decision that could impact one of the city's most well-known entertainment venues.
WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards joins us live from the Bojangles Coliseum with more on the $1 million upgrades it could see. Good morning, Destiny.
Good morning. Yeah, City Council is set to vote on $25 million in upgrades to both Bojangles Coliseum and Ovens Auditorium. And this comes as the Bowplex continues to grow. It generated over $60 million in economic impact in the last fiscal year, and that is due in part to new events and sports teams like the Charlotte Checkers and the newly announced Charlotte Crown. All of that is adding to the momentum. Now, this was originally announced by the Charlotte Regional Visitors Authority. They presented the request to council committee members earlier this month, and full council will vote on it tonight. The CRVA says the complex is showing its age with some systems dating back to the 1950s and 70s. The proposal focuses heavily on HVAC upgrades, including replacing air handler units, chillers, and a boiler to keep events running without interruptions. It also includes a full mechanical, electrical, and structural assessment aimed at building a long-term plan for future improvements. The CRVA says the goal is to keep the Bowplex running before aging systems start failing and to invest in the future of the facility. The City Council will vote at today's zoning meeting that's happening at 5 at the Charlotte Mecklenburg Center in Uptown. And if approved, this would be largely funded. The $25 million will be funded by taxpayer dollars out of the tourism fund. And city officials say timing is a big thing here when it comes to the timeline of this project. They say that some of the equipment needs to be ordered as soon as this month so that the installation will be on schedule for next summer. Otherwise, the project could be pushed back a year. And this could be something that, causes event disruptions. The aging equipment obviously is an issue, and that could be a risk for a lot of the new events that are coming up in the next year and years to come here at the Bowplex. I'll send it back to you guys live here from the Bowplex.
All right, Destiny, thanks. New this morning, a Huntersville coach set to face a judge today. Police say Jonathan Henderson was arrested Friday and charged with 2 counts of indecent liberties with a student involving 2 16-year-old students. Authorities say Henderson worked as a coach at Christ the King Catholic High School. His first court appearance is scheduled for today.
We're learning new details about a deadly Rock Hill shooting. The coroner's office say Takai Perry was shot on Springsdale and Sturgis Road Friday night and was pronounced dead at the scene. The sheriff's office says this was an isolated incident, but hasn't released details on a suspect. Right now, a man is behind bars charged with sexual exploitation of a minor. The Union County Sheriff's Office says Anas Abdel Fattah was arrested after they received a tip through social media. Authorities then found hundreds of child sex abuse images on his electronic devices. He's being held under a $700,000 bond. His court date is in April.
Salisbury police say they are now searching for 2 people in connection to a deadly motorcycle crash. Police say they're looking for Victor Vasquez Morales and Tavita Garcia Diaz. They're persons of interest at this time, and police have not charged them with anything. This comes after a car hit 4 motorcycles on South Main Street and Airport Road last month, killing a biker. Call police if you have any information. 7:35 right now. Duke Women's Hoops looking to join the men's team in the Sweet 16. The Blue Devils dominating from start to finish against 6th seed Baylor, holding the Bears to less than 50 points. Duke on to the Sweet 16 to face 2 seed LSU.
One of our better defensive efforts of the season. When you look at it in total, I thought we started the game with the appropriate level of force, physicality, attention to detail, just locked in on that end. So proud of all the players.
North Carolina also moving on to the Women's Sweet 16 after a win over Maryland. Elsewhere in the Carolinas, Dawn Staley at the University of South Carolina is going to take the floor tonight in Sacramento against that other USC, University of Southern California. Tip-off set for 8 p.m.
Okay, let's start off with a weather stat. So far, through 22 days, we have averaged 60.7 degrees for our high and low, so our average temperature. Now, this is the 3rd warmest first 3 weeks in March history, dating back to 1879, just 0.8 degrees off from the #1 spot. So I think that we have a solid bet of finishing this March as one of at least the top 10 warmest on record, but I think we're going to be really close to that 5 and 6 spot because we do have several cool downs that are going to be spiking down. We have 82 degrees today, 86, 87 around Chirag. So the general rule is for further northwest you go, the cooler you're going to be. I know that's obvious because that's usually what we have in the North Carolina mountains, but I'm specifically talking about because of the cold front. Oftentimes, Morganton can be just as warm as Charlotte on a given day, but it's that cold front that's slowly filtering in those winds out of the north and the northwest. So that's what's going to happen today. We'll see a little chance for rain for you up in the mountains. This will pass throughout the afternoon, and then you're going to see that shift. You're going to see these colors change here in the background. That cool air sinks in, keeping some clouds around for your Tuesday. And then Tuesday overall is going to be the coolest by far. We almost have some form of cold air damming starting to set up, but today is going to be a nice one as far as 82 degrees go, but the one problem that really persists is the fire danger. We could have wind gusts at a 25 to 30 mile per hour clip, and a low humidity value of 25% is astronomically low. So that is dry fuel, and we've had no rain to really dampen things down. It's typically this time of year, there's not a lot of moisture in the atmosphere, so this is really the prime time as far as wildfire season goes. We did have one reported in Burke County yesterday, so status updates on that are still pending. But right now we're looking at a very high local fire danger, and that will turn extreme by tomorrow because it feels even drier by tomorrow behind this cold front as we typically start to feel. And then our drought monitor hasn't really improved in recent updates. We saw a little bit of a changeover right here, so now it's just plain old dry around Columbia and the south central parts of South Carolina, but still all of the Carolinas are 100% dry, so that has not changed. And looking at the 7-day rainfall estimates, they're not great. We only have one day that stands out from the rest, and that is Friday heading into Friday night. But I think it's going to be very similar to what we had on Saturday. You may or may not have realized that there were thunderstorms out and about. Charlotte wasn't really too impacted. I was around Concord, and you saw some significant lightning flashes on your Saturday night. Well, I'm just letting you know that is going to be another case and scenario. They think it's more scattered thunderstorms, nothing really widespread, to end the day Friday, heading into the evening as yet again another cold front passes. Right now in our Monroe camera, everything is gorgeous. This is pretty much the way most of the morning is going to look. Lots of sunshine, some upper level clouds, some contrails up in the sky, and then by the afternoon you will notice that shift in the winds, that it will be breezy most of the afternoon, but by the end of the day it starts to get a little bit cooler. We're cooling down quicker than we usually do, and then that's going to bring us to 44 in the morning, 60 degrees for the afternoon, 68 degrees on Wednesday. So it's a quick little comeback, and we're avoiding the 70s for whatever reason because we either have the 80s or the 60s. So it's a quick little flip over as far as that's concerned. Two cold fronts bringing us down, but at least this weekend should be filled with sunshine, even though the coolest mornings could be a carbon copy of one another. Sunday and Wednesday morning, both around 40 degrees. As of right now, it looks like Thursday is my pick of the week. 80 degrees, feeling great with plenty of sunshine. Okay, let's see how we're faring so far with our morning commute. Good morning, Majestic.
Good morning, everyone. This is going to be I-85 out near Mallard Creek, where conditions look spot on. Starting to get busier, but at least we don't have stop and go traffic, anything to really slow you down as of now. Right now, we're following 6 active crashes. We were up to 7, and now we're up to 6. At least we have one less, but once we're heading to the north, this is going to be a new crash. It's right on I-77, right between Cornelius and Huntersville. You can see those southbound lanes really being impacted by this out near Samford Road. So we're seeing delays coming in, slow moving conditions through Catawba Ave, so a few miles there. Once we're heading a little closer to Uptown, this is right by I-485, is I-85 northbound at Sam Wilson. I'm not seeing huge delays with that, but then once we head towards Uptown, this will be on Independence. Inbound lane still, I'm seeing lots of green with it, so it could have been one of those situations where there was an accident and they were able to take it off, put it over to the side. Delays are starting to build though on Independence a little further south. I think that's just as more people are heading more inbound. That's what I'm watching for you right now. We'll have another check on those roads coming up here soon.
Fantastic, thanks. 7:40 right now on your Monday morning. President Trump says federal immigration agents are headed to airports across the country to help with security lines. What that could mean for your next flight. Up next.
Time now, 7:43. President Trump says ICE agents will start backing up TSA agents today to speed up airport security lines that have grown dramatically in the Department of Homeland Security shutdown. NBC's Alice Barr has the latest from Washington.
Beginning today at airports across the country, agents in a different uniform set to greet travelers inching through crowded security lines.
I don't know, a couple of thousand people on right now.
President Trump announced on social media ICE agents would come in to help TSA. His border czar, Tom Homan, saying they would take on tasks like securing exits and checking IDs.
Well, ICE isn't trained in x-rays and look at x-rays, see if there's, is something dangerous in that luggage. Well, no kidding, and we're not going to be doing that.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy suggested otherwise.
TSA agents are law enforcement. They know how to pat people down. They know how to run the x-ray machines because they are, again, under Homeland Security with TSA.
Homan said details were being worked out just yesterday.
Anything to get things going.
As some travelers raise concerns.
Putting ICE in there just, to me, elevates tensions unnecessarily.
Funding to the Department of Homeland Security has been cut off for more than a month, with Democrats pushing for changes to immigration enforcement operations. DHS says more than 400 TSA officers have quit since the shutdown began. Thousands more calling out as they miss paychecks again.
Checking accounts are wiped out. We haven't recovered from the last two that we've had before.
While the two political parties point fingers, TSA and travelers paying the price, with lines like here in New Orleans snaking to the parking lot. While Republicans blame Democrats for the funding stalemate, Democrats are pushing a separate bill to fund TSA and other agencies not related to immigration enforcement. Adding to the uncertainty, President Trump posted again pressing Republicans not to make a deal on DHS unless Democrats agree to back the Save America Act aimed at stiffening voter ID laws. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
A statue of explorer Christopher Columbus has been placed on the grounds of the Eisenhower Executive Office building next to the White House in Washington, D.C. The move by Donald Trump's administration is meant to honor Columbus amid ongoing debates over how his legacy is remembered. The statue is a replica of the one that was toppled and thrown into Baltimore's harbor during racial justice protests in 2020. Supporters say it celebrates heritage and history, while critics see it as a step backwards in conversations about colonialism and indigenous people.
Today, a new legal battle goes before the U.S. Supreme Court about mail-in voting rules. Right now, some states count mailed-in ballots that arrive after Election Day. We used to do that here in North Carolina until just a couple of years ago. President Trump pushing to limit that practice, but some voting groups say states have the flexibility in regulating those ballots in their own laws. The justices will hear arguments in just a few hours. Their final decision is expected sometime this summer.
Taking a live look at 85 near Mallard Creek right now. When we return, Majestic has your latest on your traffic impact.
7:49 right now on WCNC Plus. Hawaii's National Guard has been helping first responders in search and recovery efforts after flash floods hit Oahu's North Shore over the weekend. This is the worst flooding it's seen in more than 20 years, causing more than 5,000 people to evacuate. First responders rescued more than 200 people. Evacuation orders have since been lifted. The storm caused an estimated $1 billion in damage. Chris joins us right now. Is it true that Hawaii's been dealing with floods as well as snow warnings too?
Yeah, this makes no sense, right? But it's actually the largest island in Hawaii, this one right here, that little blot of pink is actually a winter storm warning. So what's happening with all of these rain and the storms that are coming down, there's a flood watch in general for the largest island, but then there's also a winter storm warning above 12,000 feet. So there's not a tremendous amount of people that live there, but just the fact that above 12,000 feet has winter storm warnings and then blowing snow on top of all the rain that we have really puts in perspective about how serious and wacky of a weather system this is. Now, Hawaii often has its wet season around this point, but as you just mentioned, it's the worst flooding they've had in about 20 years just because it's been a constant conveyor belt of moisture. Often these atmospheric rivers can set up and it's just one batch of rain after another. Meanwhile, it's the exact opposite for us, that we're just trying to get any sort of a drink here in the Carolinas. And the last time that we really had a significant rainfall has now been over 2 to 3 weeks. So we really need another kind of desperation mode as far as rain is concerned. And now, once you get into April, we start to see, I think, a little bit more frequent storms. March still had a chance for storms on and off, but nothing has really been good as far as the benefactor as that steady rain that we really need to soak in across the course of the day. So really, we've been reaching status quo over the last couple of weeks. Well, this week, I think, is going to put us in the wrong direction. As of right now, our 7-day outlook is only showing one rain chance, one single rain chance, and I think that's primarily going to be on Friday evening. It's going to be very similar to what we had over the weekend. Many of us might have been none the wiser, saying, what are you talking about? There weren't any storms this weekend. Meanwhile, those that lived north of Huntersville realized, well, I got caught in a big downpour. So I think it's going to be the same case and scenario on Friday and Friday evening. Nothing really widespread. And even if you head into the first days of April, it is not trending in a good direction as far as that rain goes. Oftentimes, I always say this, drought feeds drought. So the more dry conditions that we have, the harder and harder it is, and the more moisture that we need to really overcome it. And we just do not see that over the next 7 to even 10 days. And then I think really it's after day 14 of our extended forecast that we are seeing some improvements. Meanwhile, our high temperature today, 82, is going to be another big drop off into the 60s. But as I say, our floor is changing and our ceiling is remaining the same. So 87 is the hottest that we've been so far this season. We did it back on March 10th, March 11th, now officially March 22nd, just yesterday. Well, yet again, I have another 87-degree point. However, I'm saying, splitting hairs here, I did see in the 5-minute observation a couple of times we popped up to 88, but I'm not going to argue with the National Weather Service. I think I'm just bitter because I called for 88. Well, anyway, 63 degrees is going to be our fallback by this weekend, so lower to the mid-60s. Meanwhile, you're going to notice that our lows are going to be challenging the upper 30s. Nothing I think is really anything like, oh no, I planted too early type of status, even though there is always the general rule after April 15th that is really the golden rule to plant. We will have a couple of times back to around that 40-degree point, and that's actually how I wanted to end it. Is it too early to plant? Yes, technically, but as you can see, we already have early April in sight. I think you just always have to have kind of a just-in-case backup plan to cover up the plants, or if they're in the pots, I highly recommend that because then you can just bring them in under a covering and that prevents the frost. But only 21 times after April 15th in Charlotte history have we had a freezing morning. The latest, May 2nd, so that's why we usually say after the final tax day, that's where it's really okay to plant. But if you already did it earlier or not, at least you're looking so far so good over the next 10 days. Okay, let's get over to Majestic to see how we're ending the 7 o'clock hour.
All right, let's do it. Good morning, everyone. This is going to be I-485 right here out near I-85. Gorgeous start to the day, pretty warm, so you don't need a jacket as you're heading out the door. Let's walk you through a couple of new things. This is going to be a crash right near I-485 by Matthews. It's on McKee Road at Weddington Drive. You can still see a little bit of orange developing there. Off to the west, west, our second crash is on Valentine's Commons Parkway at North Community House Road. Just a little bit of a delay, a couple of minutes, not seeing any significant slowdowns. Once we're heading to the north, if you take I-77, especially between Cornelius and Huntersville, there is an ongoing crash. It's on I-77 southbound right near Samford Road. We're seeing some of those delays backed up to Catawba Ave. Those are the important things that you need to know for now. We'll have another check on traffic coming up in just a couple of minutes.
7:54 right now. Live pictures right now over Uptown. Keep it right here on WCNC Plus.
Well, hello everyone. 67 degrees is our current temperature. That is the low for the morning, and that's crazy that that's our low. That would actually be a record warm low, but we are going to hit our coldest potential by the late evening, where we're likely going to fall back into the 50s. But look at that. Plenty of sunshine just shining through the clouds. It is a delightful day overall. Kids going to the playground or whatever you're doing today. Temperature is expected to be right around 80 degrees by 1 p.m. And then after 3, that's why I think we have plenty of sunshine, but then the temperatures start to fall as the winds of change are going to be upon us. We're looking at a fresh breeze all in all throughout today. That is going to be pretty strong at times, gusting as much as 30 miles per hour. Tonight, 44 degrees, 60 degrees tomorrow, then 68 on Wednesday. Real quick, showing you that we're back to 80 degrees on Thursday, 87 again, though. Friday, that's our only chance for showers and storms. All right, Majestic, what do you need to know this morning?
Nearing 8 o'clock this morning, and traffic is looking all right. This is I-77, mile marker 30, out near Griffith. Little busier now that we're getting close to that 8 o'clock hour. New accident, though, it's just north of I-485. If you take I-77 inbound out towards Huntersville, there is going to be a crash there. It's on southbound lanes out by Samford Road, so allow for a little extra drive time to get to where you need to be.
Streaming live right now at 8 a.m. right here on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Megan Bragan for Lisa Washington. We'll start with breaking news update for you this morning. And we now know the name of the person shot and killed at a party in North Charlotte Sunday night.
Yeah, that information coming into the newsroom just the last 30 minutes or so. CMPD says they found 20-year-old Richard Thomas dead at a house on Hucks Road off of Old Statesville Road. We've got video from the scene. Officers tell us 2 more people were also shot, bringing now the total number of victims to 5. Investigators say a large crowd of young people were there at the party. Police say when they got to the scene, it was chaotic with dozens of people around.
At the end of the day, I'm standing out here before you. Upon arrival here, I probably passed about 50 young adults walking up to the scene. Apparently there's been some kind of party gone wrong, if you will, and it just disturbs and upsets me that there's that many youth or young adults out here. Don't know if their parents are coming. I don't know if their parents even know where they are.
Officers tell us the 4 injured victims are all expected to make a full recovery.
Well, right now, we still do not know what led to the shooting or who fired those shots. Police are asking anyone with information to call Crime Stoppers. Well, this morning, New York's LaGuardia Airport, one of the nation's busiest, is shutting down after 2 people were killed when a plane crashed into Port Authority vehicle. Investigators say the plane was coming from Montreal and collided with a fire truck that was responding to a separate incident. The pilot and co-pilot were killed. 2 Port Authority officers were hurt. Port Authority officials spoke earlier this morning.
Initial numbers indicate that 41 passengers and crew were transported to the hospital, as well as the ARF officers. At this time, we understand that 32 have been released, but there are also serious injuries.
The FAA says LaGuardia will be shut down until 2 p.m. as the investigation continues. Well, today, immigration and customs enforcement agents will be deployed to airports across the nation. As TSA agents continue to call out and quit, lawmakers on Capitol Hill are still struggling to find a solution to the partial government shutdown. Atlanta's mayor confirmed ICE agents will be at Hartsfield-Jackson this morning, where you see this video behind me. This is showing how lines looked there over the weekend. WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane is live at Charlotte Douglas this morning. And Richard, it looks like, officials won't be coming here for now. We're not on that short list, right?
Yeah, so far so good, Megan. Good morning to you. Good morning, Ben. Good morning, folks on the Plus. Take a look at the lines. This is the reason why less than 10 minutes for TSA Security Checkpoint 1, Security Checkpoint 3, as well as TSA PreCheck. All in good shape, but that's not the case around the country. That's why the White House plans to send ICE agents to help those TSA furloughed federal workers who are going unpaid for yet another week. Now, the U.S. Border Czar, Tom Homan, calls sending the agents as a force multiplier, he says, and said that the agents would take on non-technical roles like monitoring lines and checking IDs so that TSA officers who are still on the job can focus on screenings. Here in Charlotte, lines haven't lengthened at times. We've seen about 40 minutes at the longest this weekend, but that doesn't match the chaos at other airports still. Officials and Democrats warn about using agents who aren't trained for TSA duties. So if you're flying, the best advice: arrive earlier than usual and watch your airline alerts.
TSA is where the funds need to be made, and anything that they can do to help out, I think that would be really beneficial for them.
Putting ICE in there just, to me, elevates tensions unnecessarily. People may be afraid to fly because they think they're going to get seized or detained.
Yeah, and as we can tell you, as we come back here live, of course, the lines are looking good. That's been the case all morning. This is normally a busy day. We can tell you that so far there have been more than up to 400 TSA agents who've either quit their jobs or resigned in total. Of course, if we have ICE agents coming here, we'll let you know. Megan, before I go, I wanted to play something for you if I can. Let's see if we got this. Can you hear that, Megan?
Waking up with WCNC starts the day so easily with Megan on the mornings. It's a perfect morning.
That is NC. Yeah. Megan, that's for that time I forgot and called you Jane. I have been working on that. I had my team get together and put it together for you. Now let's keep playing. We got to stop this now, guys. It's good. That's what I do.
Richard,
that's like this Delta airline official who's standing here who doesn't want to walk behind our shot. Megan in the morning. See you guys later.
If not this, then you could have a radio show for sure.
Megan in the morning.
Right.
On the mornings, okay. Love it, Richard. Okay. Of course, we're going to be following this story all morning long as we learn more about which airports will be impacted. So make sure you stick with us on WCNC Plus.
8:06 right now. This morning, we're working to learn more about several house fires over the weekend from Steel Creek to Stanley County, with one ending in a deadly tragedy. Starting in Steel Creek, this is a look at that scene Sunday night on Planter Stowe Road. Took 30 firefighters to get this thing under control. The home, a total loss. 2 nearby homes also damaged. Nobody was hurt. No word yet on what started the fire. Hours before that, several crews responded to a house fire on Brooks Road in Stanfield. 2 people trapped inside. Firefighters searched the house but had to evacuate because the roof just was not stable. When they went back in, they found a person dead. A firefighter was also hit by a live power line, but is expected to be okay. No word on what caused that fire.
Well, in just a few hours, a man charged in a Northwest Charlotte homicide will face a judge. On Friday, Eugene Turner was arrested and charged with first-degree murder. He's accused of killing Julian Spencer. His body was found in a secluded area on Belmead Drive earlier this month. Anyone with information about this incident is still urged to contact CMPD.
Megan in the morning. It does very catchy, I will say. We are looking at some of those upper level clouds that we have here in Monroe, over in Dallas. It is a delightful beginning to the day, mainly about how warm it is. So if you're worried about, what should the kids wear this morning? Don't worry about it because it's going to be warm today. The breeze, I think, will be a little nippy as once you get into the evening hours. But all in all, temperatures reaching the lower 80s, and we're already seeing the passing of that cold front. I think what is going to happen is you are going to see more clouds, though, over the next few hours because this front is actively passing. The only chance for rain, I think, is up in the high country, really above 3,000 feet. So you're going to see this deck of clouds start to pass. I think there's going to be a lot of opacity through this, so at times you can still see where the sun is. That type of scenario. Some could see some thicker clouds more than others, but then once you get to the afternoon, see a majority sunshine, so especially mid to late afternoon, a lot of sun, but then the winds shift, and you will notice it. It's going to be a windy day today, especially for you up in the mountains. Wind gusts anywhere from, I would say, 30 to 40 here in Ashe, Watauga, and Avery County. And about 20 to 30 the further south that you go. 74 around Lenoir, 77 in Maiden. Because the cold front is passing to the northwest first, that's where I think you're going to see a big temperature contrast the further north and northwest you go compared to those down to the southeast, where we have 82 degrees along the I-85 corridor, and then the mid to even challenging the upper 80s down to the southeast, where the front is taking its sweet time to get there. That's also another reason why our cold front is going to create our low right before midnight. So instead, we start off in the upper 60s to around 70 degrees over the next few hours. Already hit our low, I think, of 67 degrees, and then we're about 10 degrees cooler for our actual low right around midnight. And our lows are going to drop down several times over the next couple of weeks. So we have the 40s tomorrow, so 44, that's going to be a big shock and awe. So compared to this morning, it's up to 25 degrees cooler. Then we're 40 degrees even colder on Wednesday. We're going to be back to that range on Sunday, but a lot of ups and downs to the 40s, 50s, and 60s. Meanwhile, for our high temperatures, I'm bypassing the 70s. I don't know what's happening here. I went with 80 degrees on Thursday. This is my pick of the week, where we have 82, right around 60. So that means we're mainly in the 50s tomorrow. A nice little comeback to 87, which is the top number. We've hit that number 3 times now officially here in March, and then back to the 60s. But at least our floor is much higher in the 60s for our baseline. All in all, not too bad. So even though we lose the 80s after today, it's only momentarily, right back on Thursday and Friday. Okay, now we're back to traffic. See what's changed with Majestic Storm.
Not a lot of changes. Still pretty active out there. It's going to be I-77 this time. Wanted to show you what what Woodlawn looks like. It is busy in those inbound lanes specifically, but it's just that time of the day where we oftentimes really start to see that traffic pick up. Let's highlight a few important wrecks that you'll want to know about. This one here is north of Uptown. It's on I-77, really between Cornelius and Huntersville. It happened on the southbound lanes out near Sam Fur Road, and then we're seeing some of those backups up towards Catawba Ave. Once we're hopping down to the south, want to let you know we do have 2 active crashes near I-485. This one here is at McKee Road and Weddington Road, and then just off to the west a bit, this one just cleared, so at least we're making some improvements there. Off to areas right by 485, you can see this is 485 right here, I-85 northbound at Sam Wilson. This crash still is not cleared, not seeing big delays with it, but it's probably just pushed off to the side, so make sure you are driving carefully on this Monday morning. Guys?
All right, thanks, Majestic. 3 Nebraska teens are hurt after an elderly lady crashed her car into an arcade. We'll tell you those details next.
.13 right now here on WCNC Plus. Accessible transportation still a challenge for a lot of folks who rely on wheelchairs, but a woman in Detroit is trying to change that.
Hannah McElry spoke with a woman about her mission to help.
Maybe this was my purpose of why God kept me.
In 2024, Dominique Townsend was heading home from the grocery store with her son when she was shot 5 times in her truck by 2 men she didn't know, paralyzing her at the age of 35.
Wow, becoming paralyzed drastically changed everything. It took away my freedom. It took away my mobility to just get in a car and go free like I want to.
Those changes inspired her to develop a rideshare app for people in wheelchairs.
We don't have limitations to the doctor's appointments or therapy, physical therapies. You can go to the grocery store, social events, visit a friend, downtown, wherever you want to go.
Right now, RideAble isn't a full app yet. Townsend is launching a pilot program to match riders with accessible drivers through her website.
You're not just making money, you're giving back as well.
And she says the need is big, especially for people who rely on public transit or standard rideshare services.
If you want to get a ride to appointments or doctor's visits, you have to schedule around that. You have to schedule that days ahead. Sometimes they don't show up. Sometimes they're late picking you up.
Townsend says she needs drivers. If interested, you must complete a background check. Townsend says once they make it through a successful pilot stage, she hopes to launch the app.
7th graders at a middle school in Tennessee are using creativity to make their school more accessible for everybody. The students designed and built tools to help 2 classmates who use wheelchairs open doors more easily and move through the halls more independently. In just 1 week, the class created several working prototypes using simple materials.
Our goal for this class is not only just to get them into STEM and excited about it, but also find real-world application. We used what we had in class, which was scrap wood, cardboard. A couple kids brought a few things in, but we started picking up junk and started making stuff.
In just 1 week, the class created 6 different door openers. Teachers say the effort shows how small ideas can make a big difference in everyday life. An emotional reunion took place in Fort Myers, Florida, between a woman severely injured in a boating accident and the 911 operator who helped save her life. Nicole Hall lost her leg and part of her hip in the 2024 accident, and her boyfriend immediately called for help. After nearly 2 years, Hall finally got to meet and thank the dispatcher in person.
I have to hug you, so a little bit of like teary eyes, because it is such an impactful moment to be able to meet anybody that was there, because I'm here because of her.
We know we make a difference every day, but to really see it in person and to like touch and hug the person like that just makes it like I said, it just makes all the bad days better.
We can't thank those dispatchers enough. Even though the boating accident changed her life, Nicole says she's hoping she can use her experience to inspire others to be inspired by hope.
In Nebraska, 3 young people were hurt when a car crashed into a pizza restaurant. Police say the crash happened Friday evening. 3 juveniles were in the arcade area of the restaurant when the crash happened. They were taken to the hospital with unknown injuries. Police say a driver, an elderly lady, hit the gas instead of the brake, resulting in the car to crash. That is still under investigation.
They'll also check the elderly lady to make sure that, just to eliminate any possibility that she was impaired. So they'll put her through that kind of stuff too. So they're going to work the entire thing just because there were injuries involved.
Now it's unclear if charges will be filed. Police say there are no other injuries at this time.
Okay, let's get the brains working. Monday morning trivia. Okay, what is the largest country by land area in the Americas? So that would be North, Central, and South America all qualify. Is it A, the United States, B, Canada, C, Mexico, or D, Brazil? The answer coming up after the break. Okay, you hear that sound? That means it's time for your WCNC Plus Monday Morning Trivia. Megan and Ben, are you ready?
Yeah. We are ready.
Okay, what is the largest country by land area in the Americas? United States, Canada, Mexico, or Brazil? What do you think?
Do you want to go first or you want me to?
You go first.
I'll say B, Canada.
I was going to say B too.
Sure you were.
I swear I was. I really was.
Cody,
I was thinking
what's the right
Canada.
answer? You are correct. Good job.
Megan knew it all along.
I knew it all along. I really was between Brazil or Canada,
Now,
actually. So.
she had
Or the U.S. or Mexico.
Well, interestingly enough, as far as the top 5 largest countries, number 2 is Canada, number 3 is the United States, and rounding out the top 5, number 5 is Brazil.
Okay.
So very good. If you got Canada right, you are a winner of 1 life point. Congratulations. So we love to do Monday morning trivia or anytime here on WCNC Plus. Thanks a lot for playing, and also thanks a lot to my music man, Cody Love, our director back there. Always appreciate you, buddy. Okay, let's get right to it. So that was our Monday morning trivia. Oh, we actually almost haven't heard to the end. We have fire danger today, so not as fun as trivia, but I was just looking at it from the local report. So Brittany left me a note that there was a wildfire in Burke County. I'm not seeing that anymore, but I am actually seeing a fresh fire that started in Wilkes County. So the reason why this is a cause of concern is because of the wind gusts. Wind gusts at about 20 to 30 miles per hour. Humidity levels dangerously low at 25 to 30%. So all day long, we're going to have this issue. And our wind forecast, check it out, gusting up to about 25 to 30 miles per hour, especially by the mid to late afternoon. At that point, winds are out of the north. We have some cooler air that's starting to sink in. Sunshine really helping us out in doing its part. But then check out these local fire danger maps I put together. We have a very high danger for the greater Charlotte area down to the southeast, and then a high danger up in the foothills and the mountains. But for the very first time, we have an extreme level by tomorrow. And the main reason for this is because of how low our relative humidity is. So as I mentioned, anything below 35% is going to trigger some sort of cause of concern. When you're down into the 20s, that is astronomically low. And I was even seeing some values on Wednesday that at times were dropping down into the teens, just depending on what model you had. So this is just very, very low, way too low. And it's often this time of the year that you were going to have these values. It's really not until about late April heading into May that you start to see that situation. And speaking of our dew points, which is a great level about, hey, is it humid or not? Today we're on the cusp, borderline humid, and then after that we have just that dry, typical March air over the next 7 days. Hopefully it's a typical morning commute. I think it has been so far. Let's get over to Majestic.
Good morning, everyone. Well, it is still busy, that's for sure, but it is we have a few new things to talk about, so let's get straight to the newest one. This here is on Brookshire Boulevard inbound at I-85. That's where we have our most recent accident. You can see the yellow starting to form. I think it's a combination of just our typical traffic this time of the day, and then of course not helpful when we do have an accident that is active. Another one that's going to slow you down is right here on Independence. It's inbound lanes at Briar Creek Road. We're seeing some delays between exit 244 and 247, so allow for some extra drive time if you typically take Independence inbound, or you can take Monroe Road instead. That one looks a little bit more clear. Then by 485, this accident here has a lot of orange, indicating that cars are moving rather slowly, especially northbound. There is a crash there at McKee Road at Weddington Road. We'll have another check on those area roadways coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Majestic, thanks.
Well, check this out. Self-checkout lanes are becoming more and more popular, but not everyone is a fan.
That's right. Supporters say they're faster, easier, more convenient, especially for quick trips. Critics argue, though, they're just a way for companies to cut costs by making customers do the work of a cashier. Some also worry about job loss as more stores rely on machines instead of employees. The debate continues over whether self-checkout is a helpful tool or an unfair shift in responsibility.
I like it for quick trips.
Yeah. 3 items.
Right?
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
But if I have a huge, cart, I'm like, you do it.
Yeah. There's some places where you don't even have the option to go to a cash register. And then you don't want to get a whole lot of things because it's a lot of work, especially the fruits or vegetables, trying to find the barcode or looking it all up and weighing it.
Yeah. I think it depends on what kind of shopper are you. Are you a once a week grocery shopper?
True.
Or are you 3 or 4 times a week? Because then Sort of depends on how you want to check out.
I did it one time, and the poor woman had to come over, I think, 6 times because it kept on saying, "You're trying to steal this item." I was like, "No, I'm not."
You're like, I promise.
And then at that point, it's not faster.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not at all.
It was not.
Yeah.
All right, live pictures right now over Uptown on your Monday morning. Keep it right here on WCNC Plus.
What a start of the day. Lots and lots of blue skies, seeing some of those upper level clouds. We will increase the cloud cover slightly over the next couple of hours, but all in all, a beautiful day. It will get windy by the afternoon. Wind gusts up as high as 30 miles per hour. We already hit our morning low across the area, 65 for you in Rock Hill and 67s in Hickory and around the Charlotte area. And then temperatures will tumble down starting a little bit earlier than normal. We typically this time of year are starting to hit our high closer to the 4 to the 5 o'clock hour. Instead, I think we're going to hit our high right around the 3 p.m. hour, and then we're going to see those winds of change really cool us off. 44 degrees by tomorrow, more clouds, 60 degrees for your Tuesday. Getting warmer, but we will have a colder start on Wednesday. Pick of the week status, lots of sunshine, 80 degrees on Thursday. Next storm chance, the only one of the week, late Friday into Friday evening, but 87 degrees, doing that one again, just like yesterday. All right, Majestic, what do people need to know this morning?
Good Monday morning, everyone. It's beautiful. It's warm. You won't need a big, heavy jacket heading out the door. Maybe some sunglasses. Here's high 77 right now near Clanton. Conditions are flowing just fine, but we're covering all of these accidents for you this morning over on WCNC Plus until 9 o'clock this morning. Berkshire Boulevard, a new accident there, inbound lanes at I-85. Another one slowing you down if you take Independence inbound as there's a crash just after Briar Creek.
Thanks so much for joining us on WCNC Plus at 8:30. I'm Megan Bragg, in for Lisa Washington.
And I'm Ben Thompson. Charlotte City leaders set to make a big decision that could impact one of the city's most well-known entertainment venues.
WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards joins us live from the Bojangles Coliseum with more on the $1 million upgrades it could see. Good morning, Destiny.
Good morning. Charlotte City Council is set to vote on $25 million in upgrades to both Bojangles Coliseum and the Ovens Auditorium. And this comes as the Boplex continues to grow as a major event venue. The event venue had more than $60 million in revenue and economic impact over the last fiscal year. So there's a lot of vested interest in this, especially with new events and sports teams performing here as well. Now, the CRVA, or the Charlotte Regional Visitors Authority, presented the request to council committee members earlier this month, and full council will vote on it tonight. The CRVA says the complex is showing its age, with some systems dating back to the 1950s and 70s. The proposal focuses heavily on HVAC upgrades, including replacing air handler units, chillers, and a boiler to keep events running without interruptions. It also includes a full mechanical, electrical, and structural assessment aimed at building a long-term plan for future improvements. The CRVA says the goal is to keep the Boplex running before aging systems start failing and to invest in the future of the facility. Now, today's zoning meeting is at 5 p.m. and if this is approved, then the $25 million would largely be funded through taxpayer money that's out of the city's tourism fund. And this is not just an event venue for sports. Obviously, you have the Charlotte Checkers, you have the newly announced Charlotte Crown women's basketball team, but this is also a venue for also not just concerts, but dance recitals and local graduations. So we'll definitely see what City Council decides on this. A lot of interest in it, not just for bringing in outside events, but also hosting local ones, and we'll keep you updated.
All right, Destiny, thank you. New this morning, a Huntersville coach set to face a judge today. Police say Jonathan Henderson was arrested Friday and charged with 2 counts of indecent liberties with a student involving 2 16-year-old students. Authorities say Henderson worked as a coach at Christ the King Catholic Church School. His first court appearance is scheduled for today.
We're learning new details about a deadly Rock Hill shooting. The coroner's office says Takay Perry was shot on Springsdale and Sturgis roads Friday night and was pronounced dead at the scene. The sheriff's office says this was an isolated incident, but hasn't released details on a suspect. Right now, a man is behind bars charged with sexual exploitation of a minor. The Union County Sheriff's Office says Anas Abdel Fattah was arrested after they received a tip through social media. Authorities then found hundreds of child sex abuse images on his electronic devices. He's being held under a $700,000 bond. His next court date is in April.
Salisbury police say they're now searching for 2 people in connection to a deadly motorcycle crash. Police say they're looking for Victor Vasquez Morales and Tavita Garcia Diaz. They're persons of interest at this time. They have not been charged. It all stems from a car that hit 4 motorcycles on South Main Street and Airport Road last month, killing a biker. Call police if you know anything.
The organization Move Silfab secured a court date in its lawsuit against the solar facility. The group filed a Board of Zoning appeal back in 2024, and after slow progress, they're expecting to be heard on May 26th. WCNC Charlotte's Bria Smith breaks down the significance of this court date.
After nearly 2 years of waiting, members of Move Silfab say their fighting for accountability is entering a new phase. The grassroots organization, made up of residents living near Silfab's solar facility, filed a lawsuit citing concerns over potential environmental hazards, public health risks, as well as permit violations. Organizers argue the incidents reinforce what they've been warning about since the beginning, the potential danger of operating a facility like this so close to neighborhoods and schools. Scott Jensen is a member of Move Silfab who tells me the BZA appeal had been put off for quite some time. Last week, South Carolina State Attorney General Alan Wilson requested a list of questions regarding the plant's zoning must be answered by York County Commission Chair Christy Cox. Scott tells me while he feels the county is not being transparent with residents, it feels good to know state leaders are weighing in.
The facts are the county is breaking the law, outright breaking the law. And the Attorney General is obviously the highest law enforcement authority in our state. So I'm very hopeful that when he actually sees the facts, and the facts are that that the permits are in clear violation of the BZA ruling and of the zoning code, and Silfab doesn't have zoning compliance. They never applied for it. It was never granted to them. They don't have a change of use. The other crazy thing about this is the only legal use for Silfab's property that they're renting from Exeter currently is distribution. They never got a change of use from distribution to manufacturing.
Move Silfab leaders say they plan to continue pushing for stricter oversight and transparency as they prepare for their day in court. Meanwhile, officials have not yet released new details about the cause of the most recent chemical incidents. In Fort Mill, Bria Smith, WCNC Charlotte.
8:36 right now. Duke women's hoops looking to join the men's team in the Sweet 16. The Blue Devils dominating from start to finish against 6th seed Baylor, holding the Bears to less than 50 points. Duke on to the Sweet 16 to face 2 seed LSU.
One of our better defensive efforts of the season. When you look at it in total, I thought we started the game with the appropriate level of force, physicality, attention to detail, just locked in on that end. So proud of all the players.
North Carolina also moving on to the women's Sweet 16 after a win over Maryland. Also in the Carolinas, Dawn Staley in the University of South Carolina will take the floor tonight in Sacramento against the other USC, University of Southern California. Tip-off set for 8 p.m.
Okay, who's ready for a great day today? Now, it's not going to be yesterday. Yesterday was near perfect, lots of sunshine, 87 degrees, and it is really interesting that we can't get past 87 so far, which, by the way, is still one of the warmest temperatures in March history. I was showing you that graphic last week that we officially hit 87 on the 10th and the 11th. Well, now we join 87 again, so that means 3 of the 10 warmest highs in March history have all come in 2026. Way to go, March. That is why this is trending to be one of the warmest Marches, at least in the top 10. I think we're going to finish around 6 the way things are starting to trend. And our Dallas camera show an ample amount of sunshine, but we are seeing some passing clouds that are going to be with us. And then all in all should be a delightful afternoon. The front is now passing. A little bit of rain possible for you up in the foothills. See this cloud cover that is now working its way into Mecklenburg County. So we'll see some sizable cloud cover distance, but the difference, but there is actually an ample amount of sunshine still getting through spots of this cloud cover. So here's what it looks like on our futurecast. Seeing some green popping up here, mainly above 4,000 feet, so nothing really too drastic. And then by the middle of the afternoon, lots of sunshine. However, at that point, the winds officially have shifted. The front is gone. And we're likely going to start to cool down instead of warming up after 3 o'clock. So for you in the mountains, 59 in Banner Elk, a little bit higher up. 63 around Blowing Rock, and then 64 around Fleetwood. By the time you get to, I would say, the lunchtime hour, let's call it noon to 1, that's where you have that front that is actively starting to filter in some of the much colder air. So likely might even hit our high temperature for you in Morganton right around lunchtime, 76 degrees. And then 3 hours later, the front should really have its bigger impacts. I think the front rolls through a little bit I would say late morning, but sometimes it takes a few hours for the true cold air to filter in behind it. That's exactly what we're going to see today, right around 82 degrees, and then the mid-80s starting to take over to the southeast because that's the last place that the front's going to pass. We already hit our low for this morning. That was 67 degrees, and then we're going to be hovering right around that 70-degree point in the near term. 57 degrees is likely going to be our low for the day. So this would be a record warm start, or at least a record low, but it's not going to because it's really going to be the last hours of the day that we're going to hit our coldest temperatures. That is going to allow for a downfall. Temperatures to 44 degrees tomorrow, 40 again on Wednesday, and then a nice little warm up, and then another big cool down. Welcome to March, everyone, where we really have those temperature swings that are epically up and down. Fire danger, very high today. I think it's extreme by tomorrow. It's all because of that low relative humidity, occasional wind gusts at 20 to 30 miles per hour, and not great, not grand, because these wind gusts, I think especially by the middle of the afternoon, and as I mentioned, that's where we get the true digging in of that colder air. That's where you're going to have those gusts anywhere from 25 25 to 30 miles per hour. I noticed this yesterday when I was grilling out. The winds really started to pick up during the evening. So please, if you're doing any grilling of that nature, you gotta be careful because it's not recommended for today and especially tomorrow where we have even drier air. There is one active wildfire right now in Wilkes County that I can see. All the other ones are prescribed. So it is the season. Really, March into April is our highest chance, especially under these conditions. Once you get to Wednesday, we're starting to warm back up, 68 degrees, 51, nice start on Thursday. Thursday's my pick of the week, by the way, 80 degrees, and then Friday back to 87. That'll be the fourth time that we've done that so far this month, and it's also opening night, but that is also our only rain and storm chance, likely to end the afternoon, heading into the evening, and then another cool down back to the 60s by this weekend. A lot of ups and downs, but at least the downs aren't too terrible. Let's get over to Majestic. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. This is I-77 out near Tyvola. It is steady. We're seeing lots of traffic as we're still nearing that 9 o'clock hour. Not just traffic, but also several ongoing accidents. Here's a couple new ones for you. This is going to be on Harris Road, right near Camp Stewart Road. We're seeing yellow coming in both directions, so that is adding on a couple of extra minutes for that morning commute out that direction. This secondary crash, I've been following this for over 30 minutes. This is on Brookshire Boulevard inbound after I-85 there, and if you're making that morning commute in from Independence, there's a crash there. You can see all the orange. It's a combination of just our typical morning commuters, and then when that crash happened, of course, it's going to slow you down even more. It's right there at Briar Creek Road. We are seeing some delays from 244 to 247. And then finally, out by the airport, Billy Graham Parkway at Boyer Street, a new crash was just reported. So it's busy out there. Make sure you're slowing it down, driving for the conditions. We'll have another check on the roads coming up here soon.
All right, thanks, Majestic. President Trump says federal agents are headed to airports today to help with security lines. What that could mean for your next flight, coming up.
.844 right now on WCNC Plus. More than a month has passed since the start of a partial government shutdown. Among those the most affected, airport security workers who are not getting paid during this funding standoff. John Lawrence reports as it's causing travel-related headaches and long lines nationwide.
I mean, we got here at 4 a.m. We have a flight at 7:30. Thought we'd be safe enough.
Long lines at many airports nationwide, including JFK in New York, Louis Armstrong New Orleans International, and Orlando International in Florida.
As an officer here, I apologize to every one of these people here because they should not be going through what they're going through.
And Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International is living up to its title as the busiest airport in the world.
This isn't even the security line. This is the line to get to the security line. So, might be here a while.
Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens confirmed ICE agents will be at the airport starting Monday. They'll be under the guidance of White House border czar Tom Homan.
We're simply there to help TSA do their job in areas that don't need their specialized expertise, such as, screening through the X-ray machine.
TSA workers haven't been getting paid because of the partial government shutdown, causing many to call in sick or quit, resulting in lines significantly longer than usual.
I have an idea for Donald Trump. Instead of sending ICE agents to harass travelers at airports, why doesn't Trump get his act together and agree to pay the TSA workers and get the Senate Republicans to do so?
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
And I've got it pulled up here on my computer right now at Charlotte Douglas. Checkpoint 1, 2, and 3, all under 10 minutes. So good news here locally, because at the same time, airports, including Atlanta's, have occasionally just stopped posting wait times for travelers, like I just told you, because of a lack of certainty.
A new poll shows many Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander adults are concerned about U.S. immigration policy. The survey found about 6 in 10 AAPI adults believe recent immigration efforts have done more harm than good. Many respondents also say enforcement actions have gone too far and are impacting their communities. At the same time, there is strong support for creating pathways to citizenship for long-term immigrants. Experts say the results highlight growing concerns within communities as immigration policies continue. Well, new developments this morning in the war in Iran. Hours before his 48-hour ultimatum was set to expire, President Trump decided to postpone strikes against Iranian power plants and energy infrastructure. The president saying and Iran have had very good and productive conversations surrounding a possible end to the war and reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. Right now, those strikes are on pause for 5 days while those conversations continue.
Today, a new legal battle goes before the U.S. Supreme Court about mail-in voting rules. Right now, some states count mailed-in ballots that arrive after Election Day. President Trump pushing to limit that practice. Some voting groups say states have flexibility in regulating those ballots and those laws. The justices will hear arguments in just a few hours. The court's final decision is expected sometime this summer. 8:47 right now, the West Coast bringing the heat. We'll tell you just how severe it really is.
Time now 8:49. This weekend, dozens were hospitalized due to heat-related issues at an air show at Luke Air Force Base in Arizona. According to the Glendale Fire Department, on Sunday alone, they treated 70 people and took 12 to the hospital, while Luke Air Force Base medical staff treated 60 and transported 10. The extreme heat forced organizers to end the show early Saturday. The heat was even worse, with more than 400 people treated. Chris, we're experiencing warmth right now, but not that kind of warmth, even though it was really, really hot for March.
Yeah, 87, and we've done that 3 times, but it's not like, oh my goodness, we need to drink so much water to survive. Now, it's also this time of the year that you have to watch out, because even yesterday, especially if you're more sensitive to the heat, if you were overexerting yourself, you could almost have that heat exhaustion sneak up on you, especially if you're working in direct sunshine. But meanwhile, looking at the long-range trend, the video that you just saw is going to become the norm through that part of the country, because they still have a 6 to 10 day outlook that things are going to be astronomically high right through here. And 6 to 10 days, by the way, is March 29th through April 2nd. The disappointing thing is when they're already getting this hot, talking about triple digits over there in the Southwest, that is way too early. That's something that they expect most of the summer, so it really takes away some of the best time of the year over there. Meanwhile, our 6 to 10 day outlook, a little bit closer to home here in the Charlotte area, a lower end chance for above average temperatures, but we definitely start to see that expand by the end of March. Heading into April, our 8 to 14 day outlook looks to be a solid chance for above average temperatures. So that would mean a lot more 70s and even 80s, maybe even having a chance of surpassing that 87 degree point that we can't quite crack. Looking forward though, check it out. Today we're at 82, 60 degrees tomorrow. We will see another spike to the magic number of 87. That would be Quattro, number 4 that we've done that. Back to the lower 60s before we see a nice little comeback of the 70s. What's interesting, over the next 7 days, I showed you the 7-day forecast already. I actually have 60s and 80s, but I have no 70s. Thursday just barely makes the cusp, 80 degrees, even though it'll be in the 70s most of the afternoon. Meanwhile, our lows dropping down to about 40 degrees, up to 63, back to 40. That's still a chance at the upper 30s. Do note, with some of us could drop to that freezing point, so keep that in mind if you already bought some of those outdoor plants. And then our only rain chance is a 30% on Friday, and then again for April 1st. That is not a lot of rain, so that wants to move forward outside of the 10-day forecast. Our 8 to 14 day precipitation outlook is not looking great. We instead have more of a drier chance, or an equal chance of just the usual typical rain. We don't really have anything that is exceeding expectations. So it's now starting to become dire. We desperately need the rain associated, and we are not really looking to get it. And that's also going to really hinder some of our thunderstorm chances. The only ones that we have on Friday and Friday night, they're going to be very scattered, so we don't see anything widespread. That's the only silver lining that I have for you here, is at least it is going to minimize some of our storm chances. Meanwhile, today, a fresh breeze by technicality, but at times you're going to have some strong winds. That was sort of the larger branches are really coming into motion. Not great for umbrellas, but as I just mentioned, you don't need the umbrella except for maybe late on Friday heading into your Friday evening. Here it is. Better look at your Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast. Last time here on WCNC Plus, 82 to 60. My pick of the week is Thursday with sunshine starting off in the 50s, end game around 80 degrees with another cool down after that 87 back into the 60s for this coming weekend, the last weekend of March. This is also our last look at traffic here on WCNC Plus with Majestic.
Let's do it. Good morning, everyone. This is going to be I-77 heading out the door this morning. Mile marker 8 out near Remount. You can see cars are moving. It's getting a little slow. Of course, still we're in that jam-packed kind of time in the morning commute. You can see over to the east. This is going to be just west of I-485 where a new accident was just reported still. This is Harrisburg Road right near Camp Stewart Road. Not seeing huge delays with it, but just to the south on Albemarle Road, there was an ongoing wreck there, and they're trying to clear it right before Willgrove Mint Hill Road. So those are two important things to know on the east side of Uptown. Then we're heading just a bit north. This is Brookshire Boulevard inbound just after I-85 where this crash has not been cleared. So while we do still have a handful of ongoing issues, I'm not seeing anything that's significantly slowing a lot of people down. But before we go, this one here is on Billy Graham Parkway at Boyer Street. So if you're heading out towards the airport, I don't think you'll have any delays. You just might see it as you're making your commute.
And we're going to take a quick break here, but keep it live right here on WCNC Plus. Our very own Jane Monreal will take over the top of the hour at the Impact Studio. She'll have heart attack survivor Chuck Lane to talk hidden heart risks.
What a start. We have some clouds pushing through, but that's not affecting us. 70 degrees right around the Charlotte area, 67 in Hickory. This is our warmest morning by far that we have over the next 7 days. And today's highs, 82 for Charlotte, 74 for you in Hickory. That colder air already starting to blow in by the late morning up in the mountains and the foothills. And we should have a windy day. We're talking about wind gusts as high as 25 to 30 miles per hour. And then temperatures are the warmest to the southeast. That is pretty typical in the mid 80s. Tonight, this is where the cold air officially settles in. 44 degrees by tomorrow morning around sunrise. Mix of clouds and sunshine right around 60 degrees tomorrow, and then on the way up, 68 degrees on Wednesday. Wednesday morning, by the way, will be the chilliest morning for the work week. Back to 80 degrees for my pick of the week on Thursday. 87 again, just like yesterday, but it has a late day storm chance for opening night on Friday. Majestic, one last look.
Good Monday morning, everyone. It's beautiful outside, it's warm, and those roads are still a little busy. That's out there near Arrowwood, heading inbound towards Uptown. A new accident, it's going to be right here out by I-485. It's on Harrisburg Road out near Camp Stewart Road. Keep this one in mind, minor delays. Just to the south, another one here. It's on Albemarle Road just before Will Grove Mint Hill. Take it easy, have a great day.